Hello, good morning. My name is Bitha Sudanandan, and today is the 30th of March 2026, and the time is 6:31 a.m. The area of body we will be maintaining health of by the Nirbeeja Yoga style is the region of the solar plexus. Now, morning is an interesting time. Solar plexus is about the region where, just below the diaphragm, lower portion of the rib cage, there is a collection of a bundle of nerves that then, which is kind of like a traffic junction between different, between nerves that supply to different organs. For example, there's a liver there, there's a stomach, there's a spleen, there's a small intestine, there's a pancreas, and the mesentery is just starting around there. So a lot of supplies of nerves, arteries, different tissues, lots of fluids moving there, digestive processes. So the solar plexus forms an interesting network of junctions. Yeah. And existential angst may be pretty much there. But morning time, what is also interesting is the geography that we are each sitting in. Um, I am sitting in a place where, well, I call it as the heart breath or the region of the chest. Primary respiration, a lot of people don't know about it, but um, whether or not you know about it, we are alive because our body functions by primary respiration and secondary respiration. Primary respiration is the breath of life, which began in our mother's womb and where lungs were not functioning. The lung respiration is what I call a secondary respiration, where the lungs start functioning after the baby is born from mother's womb. And once outside the mother's womb, it is important to maintain a fine balance to then recalibrate between the primary respiration and secondary respiration regularly because, well, different people are aware of primary respiration, that they are alive. When they are not aware of primary respiration and are most of the time sitting, for example, or there is geographical affects on their body, primary respiration gets affected. The COVID pandemic, for example, had an effect on the breath of life, and a lot of people don't know about the breath of life. So different physiological processes get affected. You know, what you don't know rules your life, or what you didn't know became the opportunity for a tiny little virus. Um, and I started speaking about these lives during the pandemic on Facebook. Um, those lives are still available. You can just look at them. But there were also other effects that I was getting affected by. For example, the effect of screen on my health and how different people were looking at the material while I had to speak in another uh, set. I had to begin at a different place. I wasn't speaking in terms of primary respiration, secondary respiration. I may have said it, but it's not something that you just do once or just speak of and be done with. Because I did since 2020 to now, there have been so much refinement, so many details, which were not available to be spoken about then. Um, so it's a few years of work. Now, geographically, because of also the altitude from sea level and also the home space, in the sense where I'm in Srinagar, South Bengaluru, and there could be people with different levels of health, some with concerns, maybe a lot of time sitting, or the dietary habits, or emotional concerns. Young people, you know how or time for or romance, yeah, emotional concerns, and um, heartbreak, yeah, or uh, infatuations, and many such details. And our body system, our alive unit, our primary respiration gets affected by also the circadian rhythms of different people's environmental concerns. Too much of job pressure, their heart is functioning in a different rhythm. their lungs are functioning in a different rhythm. So a group of people with different rhythms of each person, um, circadian rhythms, menstrual cycles tend to sync if women sit together in one place, are functioning more together. Now we have in a geography, when we have many kinds of people with different circadian rhythms, and we're not just talking about the menstrual cycles, then our how is health appreciated, experienced at a point in time, can only be known by a person who's regularly practicing Nirbeeja Yoga. Where I notice in this location, some of the breaths are functioning fine, and others are like, oh my goodness, it's such a depressing experience. You're staying awake and conscious takes some effort, unless I'm breathing healthy and actually doing Nirbeeja Yoga so that my chest, for example, is more functioning. And I thought I had some of this coronary artery concerns because I used to regularly do this. I travel to RR Nagar, come here again to Srinagar, and here people are not are some people know about it, don't know about it, and so my chest goes into a moment. Go to RR Nagar, there also people know or don't know. So, which is why I need to teach this more often. So, on how to maintain your chest and abdomen and pelvis, different parts of your body alive, and what does yoga actually mean? And it is not what people think it to be. It's not a whole lot of box breathing or anuloma viloma or kapalabhati or what have you. This is completely different. I might as well be talking about the internet, yeah, which through which we now speak. So brand new, while we've been having the same human body since some time. So lots of work. I'm going to have to put specific content on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com, LEARN dot DYNAMICSTILLNESSES.com. You've noticed my vocal fry. That's because in this geography, people's health is affecting my health in this manner. So my recurrent laryngeal nerve is getting affected, my throat, my chest, my heart, they're all getting affected. So I need to breathe such that I'm not having a taketsubo, bradycardia, or any of that stuff. So, so I need to regularly heal the bottom of my heart. Otherwise, I would have cardiomegaly or, well, blood circulation concerns. So I have been noticing a little bit of pain in my arms, but once you pay attention to your health in quite some time, you notice, oh, it's another season. Oh, it's another thing. Where maintaining physiology, this may not be how we popularly appreciate health or disease. If you have certain symptoms, it could be a conglomeration of them, and then what's your lifespan would be the calculation. But then this has been happening since 2 years of the pandemic, at least. So you notice certain symptoms, you adjust, and then you work through, and then yeah. So this has been, I've been paying attention to this season. And we have some people practicing a different kind of meditation starting November, where they are, um, so, well, they even call it mm, sun, moon, star. Yeah. But it's about how they do it, with or without your awareness of your body. And what do you pay attention? Also makes a difference. So I'm having a vocal fry, lots of details. So, and there are people who are a little more curious about health. So they watch videos, for example, Reiki or emotional tapping and those practices without knowing several basics. They don't know Nirbeeja Yoga basics, but several fundamentals. They even watch YouTube and do yoga poses. Yeah. And without knowing basics, when you're just going to be maintaining health, there are several details which gets affected. So every now and then, some health challenge, you come up with a new coping mechanism. Yeah. And then maintaining balance, humanity across boundaries, we need a lot of people to at least learn Nirbeeja Yoga. So I'm doing a lot of talk here, but I need to slowly, I'm having a plan of putting it on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com. So it can be at least a subscription plan. But basics, little by little that you learn how to, well, what is yoga? From having just having a body that's human, what does yoga mean? and how you bring that about such that you have humanity across boundaries where you're improving health but not impinging into somebody else's health. Yeah, circadian rhythms, how it's not affecting others, but in a sense, you're becoming better and they are becoming better too. I have noticed that people sometimes go to temple visits because they suddenly become a little spiritual, or they have, you know, mythological. Slowly, they are going through stages of development. I call it the Dashavatara and Dashami cycles. So there are seasons. Pay attention to flora fauna seasons. So this is some of the things that I've noticed in my environment. And you would say you're getting spiritual, but you're actually kind of your bodily composition is getting a little different. Um, which is also how your consciousness becomes more clearer as you go through, as your conscience becomes clearer. So spiritual, I don't know, um, Char Dham visits, and yeah, so it's been pretty interesting. And your diet practice is becoming more finer, Sanatana Dharma thought lines. So yeah, it, body is a very amazing organ. I call it the Sri Gandha conscience. Okay, I can be talking lots of concepts, but maintaining the region of the solar plexus, kindly excuse my vocal fry. Now, so I will try including maintaining my own chest, my heart, such that I'm not getting into a yeah. So, which is by paying attention to the main frame while then moving into the region of particular interest today. The main frame is the head, shoulder, the shoulder girdle, your rib cage, your spine, and your pelvis. Basic living unit, main frame, and plus or minus limbs, according to how different composition is across the geography. Now, um, I invite you to bring your attention to the region of your shoulder girdle, yeah, and pay attention to any sense of warmth, any sense of softness about the tissues of your shoulder girdle, the top portion of your shoulder girdle, and notice what if there's any sense of moisture about your shoulder girdle, about the tissues of your shoulder girdle. So warmth, softness, moisture. Now this is not something that you imagine, but something that you feel. And feeling requires you to pay attention to your muscles, to your tissue, and that requires your nervous system, the presence of the awareness of your nervous system. Yeah. So when you're paying attention to your shoulder girdle, the muscles, in terms of warmth, and that could be in many ranges, um, warm to cool to cold to hot, softness, you may notice different kinds of tissue textures, but you're likely to notice some form of movement that your shoulder muscles make, left versus right. If you can pay attention to any sense of movement about your shoulder muscles, you are a little more aware of some of the natural movements your body makes. Okay? Now, this could be because of the lungs expanding and contracting, and so your shoulders moving in a particular manner. Okay? And so, since the whole framework is part of one body, when lungs expand and contract, the shoulders move in a particular manner corresponding with the lungs, arms move in a particular manner corresponding with the lungs, which may not be how you expect it. Okay? Also, muscles, arteries, nerves, bones, they all have a respiration of their own because, well, that's part of the alive organism. Yeah. And so different kinds of movements may come to your attention, not in any particular order, because, well, in that sense, it may seem a little chaotic, so to speak, in the sense there are different directions of movements. And that will be because you have unknown orders in the movement of your muscles, the movement of your tissues. Because bones have greater density, muscles have density lighter than bones. Yeah. But if you can pay attention to warmth, softness, moisture, and any sense of movement about your muscles of your shoulders, you may experience your shoulders and your chest being a little more relaxed. Because these are certain movements that's natural to the body. And sometimes not being aware of the movements your body is already making is like children not being observed. And they like attention. Yeah. Because they have a lot to say all the time to point out and show and say, see this, see that, I saw that, I want to tell you this also. Yeah. So your body is a bit like that. Yeah, different tissues. When you're paying attention to movement, how your body responds is different from when you're not. Movement, moisture, softness. Now, your breath may tend to be more relaxed in the sense your lungs may have a deeper breath. And then the tension between your head, shoulders, neck and shoulders may be more easier. There may be less strain. And now I'm doing something more. For example, I'm paying attention to my chest itself and noticing my chest in terms of softness, warmth, and any sense of movement. So not just the shoulders. Now I'm paying attention to my chest in terms of softness, warmth, and movements. So there could be expansion, contraction of the lungs. There could be other kinds of movements because the chest is made up of several kinds of tissues. There's the pectorals, pectoral muscles. There is subcutaneous tissue. There's the skin. There are arteries, nerves, veins, different kinds of tissues. So tubes have their own movement, muscles have their own movement, but these may be finer details, maybe a lot to pay attention to. You could even go into intellectualization. But if you just pay attention to warmth, softness, and any sense of movement, it's just sensation. You're just paying attention to what your body, what your nerves can, what you can sense in your body. So this is not something to intellectualize, but to notice what you can feel. It's more than feel, it's more sensations. Warmth is a sensation, softness is a sensation, movement that you can notice from the warmth and softness is a sensation. Okay? And then you may notice your heartbeat because that's a different kind of a muscle that has its own beat. You may notice your heartbeat. Lungs have a different beat too. I call it the lung beat. Heartbeat, lung beat. And lung beat may not be the same as a heartbeat. Yeah, it has a different pace, and you have two lungs. So these are several fine movements. But if you notice any sense of relaxation about your chest, if you notice any sense of deepening of your breath, if you notice any sense of calm or just ease about your emotional state, where you can be in the present, but you're more comfortable. It's not a stressful moment. You're still doing good. And then you may notice your shoulders feeling a little heavier than the rest of the body. It could be so because the weight of your shoulders is now not held up, but allowed to be. Yeah. So the weight of the world may be on your shoulders, but your shoulders are not really lifting the weight of the world. So the weight of the world can be on your shoulders while your shoulders are relaxed. Yeah. And you're paying attention to warmth and softness and gentle movements. So it's not just your hands which is going to lift the weight of the world. You have many tissues. You have cells, tissues, organs, organ systems to lift the weight of the world. And you don't even have to move a muscle. Okay? You have many more hands or many more fibers. You have more capacity. Yeah, this is doing less, but a lot more is happening. Yeah? This doesn't become available when you're standing on your head. Yeah, oh, that's one of my peeves. But mm, I keep wondering about, gentle, beautiful head, gentle, slender neck, and shoulder. Okay, let's just pay attention to the weight of the shoulders now. Warmth and softness, and any sense of movement about your shoulders, your chest, and any sense of movement as you're paying attention to how's the breath, how's the length of your breath, or does your breath feel easier? When your breath feels easier, chances are your heart is also functioning easier. It's not lifting the weight of the world, but more enjoying the dance with the lungs. Because lungs, when they are breathing easier, they are more in coordination with the heart. It's a natural physiological benefit. Otherwise, your coronary arteries and other kinds of tubes will be having a little moment, congestion, because your muscles are trying to, do a lot of work, lift the weight of the world, while your arteries or veins are like, don't strangle me. Yeah, yeah. I invite you to bring your attention to your abdomen, okay, and notice any sense of warmth and softness, and any sense of movement about your abdomen. Now, the movement of your abdomen may be different from the movement of your chest because the tissues in your abdomen, intestines, um, small intestine, large intestines, at least, your chest has heart and lungs, abdomen has intestines. They cannot make the same movements. Yeah? So the movements would be different. So pay attention to warmth and softness and any sense of moisture because your body is all lubricated. You have at least blood moving through your tissues. And at least 60% of your body is water. So there would be some sense of moisture because your body is like a fluid jelly system, a little bit. Yeah. A little bit soft. Now. So paying attention to softness, warmth, and any sense of movement, which would be different abdomen, chest, shoulders, different tissues. You don't have your heart and lungs on your shoulders. Yeah. So they would be moving differently. Just relax for a bit. We are going to come to the difficult part now. The part is about the region between the chest and abdomen. It's like the junctional rhythm, a little bit of junction between the chest and abdomen, which is the lower portion of your rib cage, yeah, below your rib cage, where the chest tissues make a little bit of a difference in movement with the abdomen because it's got a traffic, mm, it's a traffic junction. Many kinds of arteries, veins, nerves, um, lots of organs. The organs in the about the solar plexus region is not the organs in the abdomen side because there are intestines. Here you have liver, spleen, pancreas, stomach, small intestine, duodenum, um, gallbladder, all of them functioning in one place. Yeah, that's quite a lot of organs there. And also kidneys at the back. Yeah, so that's why when we are not aware of our body in terms of warmth, softness, and different kinds of movement, or just movement, your body is busy trying to work and you are paying attention to the task that needs to be at hand, not even resting, no taking, a breather, all the time staring at the screen. Your posture is so off. Your so many organs about this junctional region is having a little, give us a break. You could have acidity because all the tension, muscle tension is there. And then the food you eat, you may be sitting for a while, your stomach is having a moment digesting it. Yeah. So how can you not have existential angst? Yeah. And lifestyle challenges because so many organs about this region only. Yeah. And your kidneys will be like, oh my God, I have to lift up the liver and the spleen. Yeah. And the stomach. And there is no space for it. Weightlifting also requires a little bit of strength. And you're busy jamming the whole system there. It's not jamming the whole system. You don't know there is this awareness to be had. Yeah. A little bit of paying attention to warmth and softness and moisture will have a little what they call as mimil pragnirli. Yeah, you have a little awareness of your body while you're also paying attention to what's outside. Yeah, because clues to what's happening outside would also be found in your body because conscious, subconscious, unconscious, supraconscious processes would be happening in your body. So while you're waking, doing your work, your body is picking up clues about what's happening in the environment. So this is like an internal management system. Gives you information, not just your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, yeah, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, knowing. The knowing also comes from several levels of consciousness: conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes. And when you're paying attention to your body in terms of warmth, softness, moisture, but also different kinds of movement, you will know any sense of fear, for example, or different kinds of cues about what's happening in your environment. It's like a surround sound security system. There's always a scanning happening at 4 levels of consciousness at that. So you get to know a lot about your own livability, survivability, no, livability, and um, your ability to just do your work without tensions. The more you're aware of your body at 4 levels of consciousness, 4 levels of consciousness, less tension will you have in your life because you're already aware of what there is to be paid attention to. So before somebody telling you, you would already be working on it. So much of less tension. Your employers don't have to scream at you. You are already doing the work. You're more likely to get promoted because you're more aware of what needs to be done. And then you're doing it, your integrity would be better because your conscience would be better. Some of our conscience challenges is because at 4 levels of consciousness, we're not even aware of conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes. Yeah. So conscientiousness, responsibility, you know, otherwise we are reacting. Responsibility, respondability becomes more easier when we are aware of what's happening inside several levels of consciousness and what's happening outside. That becomes possible when you're aware of your body in terms of warmth, softness, moisture, and different kinds of movement. Now, this movement would also be felt at your hands, for example. You can also feel the air on your skin. They are all different kinds of information from the environment. And that would also help your conscious, subconscious, unconscious, superconscious processes process information sufficiently. We are an information management system, kind of. Yeah, I said that. Now, and as your digestive processes, metabolic, no, information management system becomes more fine, and then you're aware of your body language. For example, there is this a little tension here, or your breath goes a little short, or you're having a little tension in your muscles. This is the body's language. Okay? It's not necessarily just, you cross your fingers, that means something. If you're scratching your tongue, chin, it means something much more finer than that. This is body language, body's language. The more you're familiar with this, your life becomes easier because you would be living more from the truth of the matter and more from the care of the matter. Okay? And you begin to love your life when you begin to see what's the benefit from living life like this. Because there's so much to be aware of. Your body is already making you aware of several things that you need to be aware of. So problems begins to start getting solved because nobody is having to scream at you because you're already aware of it and working on it, different stages of it. Yeah. And so tension becomes less. Yeah. And then you would be able to know which is your job, which you can do, or what somebody else can do. And then you can tell them, you can do this. I am not equipped to do this. So, participation in work that needs to be done becomes easier. Experts at their job, when they're doing their job, then you can do your job, which you are an expert at. Simple. Yeah. Distribution equal. Yeah. Yeah. Work gets done that way. Life gets less tense. If who needs to do the job, if they are doing it, so much work gets done. Now, that's also your solar plexus functioning well. Otherwise, you're lifting your life and doing other people's world also. Yeah. Ooh, acidity, tension, what not should be there. Yeah. That's like a recipe for diseases. Well, On that note, let's take a pause. Yeah. Drink a little water, but I recommend having some curd because curd help to bring a little more, heal a little bit the relationship between your nerves and muscles. Your intestines, if you can, okay, you're likely to be able to handle more curd if you continue to pay attention to your body in these terms, because your ability to care between our body is at least formed by the milk of human kindness. Yeah. And when you're able to pay attention to your own body in terms of warmth, softness, moisture, and movements, it's naturally part of our body. The milk of human kindness is also how mammals formed. Yeah. So your ability to tolerate curd is likely to become better over time. Yeah. Because you're more in harmony with nature and nurture. Humans are mammals. We are milk consuming people, milk consuming people, milk of human kindness, mammals. Now, care is given that we are mammals. Care is a natural part of our work. We call it career because it's carer. It's called carer. So you care about yourself too, and your career as a carer also becomes better. Homemaker, no matter what your job description or what you do during your 24 hours, you are a carer and you have a career. Well, carer. Alrighty, people. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Today's session has been so nice. Yeah, I said a little more about what needs to be said. Hopefully, we're going to have more caring people. Yeah. And we care enough to be healthy, wealthy, wise, and also live and let live, and, be and let be also becomes possible. And what I call this as not just being or doing, it's be do, be do, be do, be do. Be do, be do, be. Actively passive, passively active, all this very, very nice things. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Talk to you later, alligator. Well, we have another opportunity. Reptilian brain, yeah, another way of living too, another way of being. Very nice. See you in the evening, 6:30 to 7. Same region of body, different time of the day. The physiological effects would be different because people would be around after their hard day at work and the sun is just setting and they'd like to eat some things, watch some, TV. And so what they like to do in the evening is different from what they like to do in the morning. So more opportunity to pay attention to the solar plexus or this region and then see how this region of the body functions. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day.